Hey, any of my peeps on Facebook, can you give me a sound check? If Where's my link to Clicky Clicky? I don't understand. Hold on a second. You want a Facebook link or you want a Twitter link? What do you want? You got a sound check? Can you hear me all right? All right, just want to double check. Say yes. Say yes, Neil. Join the chat and give me a sound check, somebody. I know what, 3 people are watching today. Woo, more than normal. I usually have 0. So if you're watching, typically people watch this later because I'm such a late night and edited. So anyway, you can hear me. All right, cool. Look, Neil, I'm gonna probably still have the same problems I did yesterday because I couldn't get the green shirt, and I'm gonna try to keep my arms in a space. But I did hear your suggestions. I just didn't get them done yet. All right. We want to go live? Not yet. Okay, Neil, I'll have to figure that out later. That's cool. By the way, this chat, I can put it up on the screen. So, not a big deal. I love it. I don't care what comes through it, as long as you're not posting porn. All right, so let's fucking do this. All right. Look, no fancy intro. Welcome to Nightcap. My name's Nate Bomberger. This is brought to you by Smashing the Party. Today is the second day back after the holiday season. And as I said yesterday, I'm going to be consistent and be doing this every night at 10:30. So let's get started. Got three things to talk about tonight. There's a lot of stuff that happened over the break, okay? And there's COVID shit. We got Omicron. Probably going to evolve to Zeta eventually based on the fucking idiocracy we live in. And then I'm going to talk about one of my favorite people to... I don't like this guy because he reminds me of a veteran Sarah Palin, Dan Crenshaw. He is a word salad king, and he always makes partisan statements. So I'm going to talk a little about him and just rail on him for a little bit just because, look, I don't care. I know he's a veteran. I know he's only got one eye, so he doesn't see the whole picture, all that stuff. But the guy is a fucking partisan asshole, and if we're going to make progress in this fucking country, we need to push back on these people that do nothing but throw spears. Look, I'm not a legislator, so I'm going to throw spears. But I will say, if you're in there to work, get to work. So we're going to talk about him. And then I'm going to talk about, what was the third thing, damn it? Big stories, COVID, Twitter, and, the video. So we're going to talk about the video, which is actually just happened tonight. And the other big thing that I haven't really touched on too much is this January 6th Insurrection Committee. So I'm just going to touch on the article that I saw that was interesting to talk about that. And like I said, today's spice is going to definitely be drilled or directed at Dan Crenshaw because he gets under my skin like no one else's business. And there seems to be a lot of folks in the Republican Party right now. Look, Democrats absolutely suck at stuff. So don't think, if you're just joining, you think that I'm just going to bash Republicans. You're wrong. I talked about how Joe Biden's about ready to die. He could die on camera, for Christ's sake. I don't know. But the point is that I'm just about solutions. So let's get started. COVID. This whole platform kind of was birthed from the stresses of the Trump years, my disgust of the whole procedure on how things get done and where the benefits are shared throughout this country. And so, if you don't remember, we shut down. That whole lockdown was designed to protect our healthcare workers, okay? So we did that because we didn't want to overwhelm the hospitals. We had these horror stories coming from Europe that talked about, bodies being put in trucks. And one of my friends who was from Italy actually told me the town that was made national news was right next to where he grew up. So he knew well ahead of what was coming here. And he actually was one of the people that told me, look, go online and buy these masks. I know it sounds crazy, but do it. And he was also one of those folks that was walking around with masks when people were like, what's the big deal? And everything was blown up in Europe. So there were reasons. The reason I brought that little anecdote up is because that's the reason why we did the lockdowns. All the measures that we took were to protect our pipeline, our healthcare pipeline, as well as protect people that were, working and the vulnerable folks in our population. Somehow that's been forgotten. And so now we have folks that are like, man, I'm not wearing a mask because it's fucking slavery, and wearing a gold star like they're fucking in Germany and Auschwitz and shit. Like, putting a mask on is analogous to being in Auschwitz? Come on, man. So we're seeing the idiocracy blossom, and we're seeing folks that listen to their cult of personality leaders, and they just kind of follow along. And so now we've got this whole malaise going over any kind of measure that's used to protect, to reduce or to minimize the impact of this pandemic. The reason this is personal to me, my wife is a nurse. My wife just fucking got COVID. And we've been extra careful, been wearing masks. I tested negative. I am a vulnerable person, or at least I was. Asthma was on the vulnerable list in the beginning. It's no longer, but I'm still nightmarishly scared of choking to death or dying. I mean, as an asthmatic, I can tell you that the way these people are dying, an asthma attack is akin to suffocating. You can't gasp your breath, and so it's horrible to me to think that would be the way to die. So anyway, the point is that my wife acquired COVID, and she got it from her work, and I'm not going to say anything. The work, they've been under their own stresses. She works in drug and alcohol rehabilitation. She's an assistant director at a pretty prestigious rehabilitation, if that's even a word for rehabilitation center, but it caters to folks that may be on the top of the spectrum. So she gets all kinds of interesting characters and entitled folks. That being said, they run a tight ship. She's in charge of a lot of stuff. They've had to close, and I'm not going to identify this place, and hopefully I haven't gotten her in trouble. But the bottom line is they have, out of 13 units, they've got like 3 that had to shut down. And so this is not a facility that's necessarily equipped to handle a pandemic. They've got all the equipment they've got all the medical supplies they need. I'm not suggesting that they're not, they're low on supplies, but they're just not. They're a rehabilitation center. Their focus is on getting people off alcohol and drugs and thriving after that. And so this whole, COVID pandemic has kind of, my wife's in healthcare, but it's kind of escaped us because we're not working in the hospital. She's not working in the hospital. I say we, like we're a team, like I'm doing it. That's just how we roll. But so she's not working in a hospital where you're getting, all the attention's being focused. She's working in a kind of an ancillary part of the chain. But it is now come to roost, and she's got it. Now, fortunately, we're at the tail end of it. I didn't want to talk about it or mention it, and I probably should have ran it by her before I did, but I just assumed since she's no longer at huge risk that I feel comfortable talking about. I was a little nervous there. I mean, it's a crazy disease. One day you're fine, the next day you're not. Obviously, I'm scared as shit because I'm living in the same house with her. And so we quarantine each other. We've been kind of keeping our social distancing, as well as I'm sleeping on the sofa as opposed to, sharing a bed. And so it's been a tough, 8 days. And of course, the CDC, right when she got it, they reduced the time that you had to go, that was required for quarantine, to 5 days. Previously, other folks that had gotten it in her administration, they got 10. So that was kind of annoying. She thought she would kind of get a little longer break. She's still kind of recovering. That has nothing to do with anything other than just the roll of the dice. But we're on day 8 or whatever. Technically, she was supposed to go back to work, but she can't because she's still feeling symptoms. And today was, it's one of those things where it comes and goes. And I'll tell you right now, if you are one of those folks that if you had this and you see what I see, you might think that it's not a big deal. But the craziness about it is it kind of it flares. So one day she's kind of all right. She's having congestion. She can't breathe a little bit. She's having some pressure on her chest. Nothing need to go to hospital. But then, next day she's feeling better. And then day 4 or something, we're thinking she's going to bounce back pretty quickly. Day 4, she's in the shitter again. So it's one of those things where you don't know what's going to happen, and it's unpredictable how it's going to react in your body. This is not medical advice. I'm not a professional. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking about personal experience and things I read. If you're going to go and quote me as saying something medically and use that to support some argument you have, it's a fucking stupid thing because I'm an ex-engineer, wannabe podcaster. So don't get your medical advice from me. But I'll say this, it's frustrating because you see kind of the malaise of everyone, like, oh, yeah, Omicron, and people are making fun of it and making light of it. And, you see memes popping up about the confusion from the CDC. I posted a couple. I joined in the fun. It's frustrating, though, because now it's in the house and, you kind of see how much people don't care about anything else other than themselves. And look, I'm guilty. I'm an American. I'm not sitting here on a pedestal suggesting that I don't want nice things and kind of work for self-preservation. But what I'll say is, when you're sick and you're with something that could have been prevented, and it's taxing your life, and we're fortunate because she's still getting paid. We're in a decent financial situation. We've got money in the bank. We've got savings, probably better than a majority of Americans. And I'm not bragging. I'm saying it ain't much, but it's something. So we're okay. This isn't a complaint. We're fine. I'm grateful that my wife got us all scheduled with the boosters. We're all boosted up. She's not going to die from this. That sounded morbid, didn't it? She's not going to die from this. But the point is that it's in the house now, and it's very frustrating seeing kind of everyone making fun of it and everything else. And the frustrating thing too is that if you are a doubter and you get COVID and you see kind of the lower end, not so spicy meatballs, you're on a ventilator kind of stuff. Sorry, I know I got a green screen here until my camera comes. So Neil, I know that's annoying. I'm trying to keep my arms close, but I gotta do this. Look, I got no arms. So we're sitting, you see kind of how people have reacted to it. And it's so frustrating because my wife's in healthcare, and we've kind of been supporting our friends and family that are in healthcare. And I've been posting things, talking about it and pushing. I haven't been super duper aggressive on the mask stuff. I was in the beginning. I was like, I lit up Stouffer's of Kissel Hill one time because people were griping about going in their store without mask. And I posted on their Facebook. They changed their policy the next day. I felt like a hero. It was my first moment of activism. Good job, Nate. But I have kind of leaned off that because I've been I'm sitting here as a hypocrite saying what I see. I was kind of loose. I'm boosted. I wear a mask. I have no problem providing documentation for my booster. I don't care. It's not oppressive to me. It doesn't feel like somebody's trying to control me. All the crazy shit that you see people talking about. I mean, I have folks that are family members, and I won't say whether they're directly or indirectly, that lost their minds on the idea of having to have a mask mandate. And I'm thinking, what skin in the game do you have if we have a mask mandate? And most likely, the individuals that I was referring to, they're not going many places. They're not, they're kind of chilling. So whether it's this hysteria that drives me nuts and the lack of focus on why we did all this. It was to protect the pipeline. And so I come to my ultimate point, which is if you look at the hospitals right now, there's some good and some bad. And if you're working in healthcare, you're probably like, dude, it's all bad. No, and I don't got a graphic for it because, I'm still putting this shit together. But if you're vaccinated, you have a lower chance of ending up on a ventilator. You see the charts out there. They've got 3 tiers where it's like, all right, unvaccinated and they hospitalized, unvaccinated and they went to the ICU, and then unvaccinated, vaccinated on a ventilator. And so you typically see the folks that are in the ICU, they may be duplicately represented in the lower tier. You've seen the chart. What's happening now is we're getting to the point where we're overwhelming our system again. The good news out of all this is that despite the significant rise in cases, we're having less deaths and less hospitalization. That could mean that the vaccines are working, obviously, which is hopeful. And I'm not going to try to interpret the data. I'm just saying that we have more cases, we have less deaths, we have less hospitalizations. However, all that's the good news. The bad news is the healthcare workers are burning out. They're burning out. So while you want to go get your cosmetic surgery or whatever you want to do, whatever your surgery is, you broke your leg, you did something, you need your adductor tendon reattached like I do. You now are cued. Depending on where you go, depending on where you live in the country, you may not even be able to get medical care, depending on how bad your pandemic is. That sounds ludicrous, right? Because why isn't it in the news? It is in the news, but we now have this mix of social media and politicians continually beating up anybody that talks about mandates. It's become a partisan political thing, which is insane and totally the opposite of everything that we want to do here on Smashing the Party. I don't give a fuck about your party. I don't care if you made a good tweet and you got the other guy and you got all the sound bites. What I'm talking about is these people dying out here, the fact that my wife's out of work, the fact that you're not paying these care workers a hazard pay anymore, and we've got the crisis hasn't been reduced significantly, other than that hair of good news that says, hey, the vaccines apparently are working. So again, this is personal now. I really hesitated to talk about it, and I don't think everyone has to announce when you have COVID or who has COVID. You just need to stay home and quarantine. But it's frustrating because I can't imagine having to also be in the hospital. I can't imagine having, fortunately we have an income that keeps coming when she's sick, or it's not hourly, she's fine. We have other means and we're fine. But I can't imagine how this is just ripping through families across the United States, especially when you have your kid, he gets diagnosed and now he's got to stay home and you got to work. I mean, it's crazy. So we've never really fixed anything. We did a lockdown, which people couldn't sustain. Yours truly went absolutely bonkers. We couldn't sustain it. We just didn't have the will. People were entitled. Fucking realtors thought they were the most essential piece of fucking labor that the United States ever had. So we had all kinds of crazy thoughts going around. And now we're sitting here and we're going to have interesting conversations about what we could have done. And so this is the best part. And this is where I segue into my Dan Crenshaw tweet. This guy always, actually, before I pull that up, let me just pull something else. Let me see if I can be fancy dance. It's appalling to me to think that we can't do basic things that will help people that maybe we don't know, but it's just a simple thing. Like, you're going to the grocery store, wear a fucking mask. It's not, 10 minutes? And you can go back to your house, you can walk around naked, do whatever you want. But when you're out in public, you're not walking around naked. I don't want to see your dang-a-lang. So guess what? You're putting on clothes because you have a little bit of self-respect, but you also respect the fact that I don't want to see your dwang-dwang. It's the same thing with a mask. You're literally doing the exact same thing. You're saying, hey, I'm going to spew my fucking essence all over everybody, even though we have this global craziness because I feel like my freedom's being infringed upon. Get the fuck out of here. Oopsies, oopsies. Let me just see if I can find Dan Crenshaw, my boy. Where are you, Dan? Oh, so I didn't try to do that transition. I swear to God. I didn't want any of that stuff yet. But whatever. All right. So let me get to this little tweet here. Come on, Dan. Zoom in. Zoom in. Zoom. I want you zoom. Why won't you zoom? All right, it's not zooming. But this is the tweet. I knew this would happen. I literally tried it right before I got here. Oh. Still not going to do me? Going to do me like that? Oh. Oh. Okay. Hey, look, this is how live works, folks. Sometimes things go ornery. Give me a second, because I need to make sure this is connected or I will have chaos. There we go. All right, so we're good. Sorry about that. So, get a zoom. Get a zoom. Why is that making a sound? Oh! Is that people logging off or something? Or people... Oh, Stalfers, yeah. All right, there we go. So, oh, God. My computer's just literally acting like a silly thing. This tweet, here's Dan Crenshaw. I'll read it since my Zoom decided not to work. Maybe shutting down the virus could have included promoting a variety of safe early-stage treatments, including monoclonal antibodies. Instead, the MSM vilified governors for pushing treatments over mandates and accused Joe Rogan of using a dewormer. So this is Dan Crenshaw's analysis of why we're in the situation we're in. It's because Democrats and the MSM, by the way, I didn't even go to the next tweet. The rest of his thread is nothing but him talking about how shitty Democrats are. This is tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet. So when it comes to actually talking about the problem that we're all experiencing, which is this is going to be funky, guys. I'm going to try to get this right. All right, cool. That wasn't so bad. I got back on camera without losing my shit. So you've got this person that's elected to Congress. You know, obviously he's a patriot because he lost his eye in the war, and now everyone kisses his ass. And I'm not saying it's bad, but everyone does kiss his ass because he hurt himself in the war. And I'm not saying that's bad, but he lost his eye, and that's all I'll say. But he's a veteran. Thank you for your service, Dan. I really do appreciate it, and it sucks about your eye. I know Donald Trump doesn't really like folks that get captured or get hurt in war, but that's not me. I respect you. But what I don't respect is the dumb shit you say on Twitter. You are there to solve problems. Somebody elected you for whatever reason, probably because you talk word salad to the base and they interpret that as intelligence. You were elected to solve problems. I follow you on Twitter. I stalk you, maybe, I guess. Who cares? You're a fucking elected official. I follow elected officials. I follow you on Twitter. I follow you on Instagram. And I follow you on Facebook. I have not seen zero solutions other than saying, hey, it's their fault. Since you got elected, I should do a whole fucking show just about you, because you're really this guy's trying to go for the president. He's thinking he's going to be our first one-eyed president, and I'm not having it. But I will say, I have no respect for folks that are in an elevated position that use that position to control people, lie to people, or fuck with people. And if you look at this guy's Twitter, there's nothing but blaming, pointing the finger, and look at me, I'm great. You need more Republicans. Why? I want to know why we need more Republicans. I couldn't find that in your tweet. All I know is Democrats are evil. And so this is what's happening right now. We have both parties do this shit, by the way. I'm just picking on Dan because he's a clown, and he should never get close to the presidency. I'm telling you, he's not an intelligent person. He is a Sarah Palin in a male gendered Sarah Palin that has an eye patch that was a veteran. He's nothing more. He puts better words together, but they're just like, I am not the orator supreme, but I will say that my thoughts at times, maybe I should step back. Maybe I should back away from this one. My thoughts tend to be cohesive, and I do have an agenda, which is to yell at people like you for not following your agenda that you ran on, that you said you were going to solve all these problems. And I have not found a plan from you on how to do anything other than elect more Republicans. And so, you know, it's frustrating to see how this pandemic has evolved and how susceptible people are to follow the leadership. And good, look, people follow the lead. But at their demise sometimes, and when leaders know what they're doing and they're doing it to maintain their power, nothing fucking boils my skin. Well, there's other things, but nothing pisses me off because you're in a position of power. You have the ability to make changes. And you're sitting on fucking social media bitching about shit. And look, as a social media aficionado, look, I was on Friendster before all you motherfuckers were born. I was hitting up AOL Instant Messenger. That was where I ran my pimp game. Joking. But the point is that if you're on social media and you can't do anything but gripe and complain when you have all the tools at your disposal, get the fuck out of Congress. And no, we're not going to elevate you to the presidency. Come on. Somebody talk to this clown. Seriously, one of his colleagues, tell him to just stop. I know he's got a huge following. He wants to be the right-wing AOC kind of social media magnate, and I get it. He's making progress because, I'm not going to say this, but if 70 million people voted for Trump, I can guarantee it's not going to be hard for him to find 3 million idiots out of that 70 million that are going to follow him. So no big deal. You're in Congress. You should have some following. If I got elected tomorrow and nobody knew who the fuck I was, the next day I'd have a huge following. That's just how it works. So I'm not giving him any street cred for his fucking effort, although I do appreciate anybody that puts themselves out there and runs for office because it's not easy. So all the vitriol that I might spew, it is hard. It's a hard thing to do, and it takes courage. And you're going to be beat up by people like me, and that's just that's the way the game's played. But nonetheless, you went there to do a job, and I'm if you're a viewer, I know people we have conservatives that watch this. I'd love for you to show me some articulate, well thought out anything coming from Dan Crenshaw, and I'll send you a fucking t-shirt. And when I say, I mean, it has to be vetted. I will be open-minded, but it's got to be cohesive. It's got to be something substantial. You are elected to Congress. You're talking about the problems and how it's everyone else's fault. How about you do something about it? And so, you know, now that when I'm dealing with my wife and she's got COVID, and I'm seeing people on there saying, hey, well, we should have done this, and standing on I Told You So Mountain. Look, I love standing on I Told You So Mountain. No one loves I Told You So Mountain more than me. I love that shit. I'm fucking right, motherfucker. But guess what? You don't get to stand on I Told You So Mountain when you were fucking wrong. So you are part of the party that elevated Trump, who continued to say, hey, we're gonna be celebrating Easter with the family. No COVID. It'll just disappear. It'll just disappear because that's what it'll do. And you supported this clown. You continue to support it. And then you get on Twitter, and you've been doing it since you were elected, talking about how everything else is somebody else's problem. You're a coward. I don't care if you served. That's weak. You have the information and the ability to communicate to folks to save lives, and you're being a coward so you can stay in power. So fuck you, Dan Crenshaw. I don't give a fuck. Thank you for your service, but fuck off. I think you should be out, and I think, you know, this is a Marjorie Greene Taylor in sheep's clothing because he plays the role. He knows better. He is smart enough to know that he can't talk like her, but he's spitting fire all the time and just dividing and never producing solutions. I get you have to divide to win. I'm not saying you can't throw some fire at everybody or people across the aisle, people that disagree with you. That's my whole livelihood from now on. So I'm cool with it. What I don't like is that I have no power to change legislation. I can't write a bill. I could, and then I could lobby you. Sure, if I was a corporation, it might be easy. But you are there. So turn your ass around, put your phone in your fucking pocket, and go write some shit or go convince people that you have a solution. Then you get that done, I'll even consider you president. Get fucking universal health care. Everything I said about you being a fuckstick, I'll take back. But Right now, you're a fuckstick on Twitter. That's you may end up being wildly successful and, be on TV and get that Fox News spot you're all chasing. But I'm telling you right now, what a fucking waste. This is your shot. You got elected, and this is how you roll. I know you're smart enough to understand what I'm saying. You're not Sarah Palin stupid. You talk like her, but you're not that stupid. And I'm sorry, folks. I know I'm name calling, and Facebook may ban me, but I'm telling you, you have to call a spade a fucking spade. I'm not going to sit here and listen to people say the sun is black when the sun's fucking golden yellow and then just go along with it. I don't care if it's fucking cool or it fucking buries the hatchet or I fall on the sword, all that dumb shit people tell me when I fucking get indignant about fucking calling people out for their shit. I'm not falling on the fucking sword for idiots anymore, okay? It's over. I'm not apologizing. I'm telling you, people like this do not deserve to be in power. So when they get elected, your guy gets elected, you didn't win anything. You didn't win. Your job just began. So your Democrat or your Republican just got elected, go check on him. Just because your guy won or beat your, whoever the liberal, libtard, whatever person, the opposite of your party lost or won, the job's not over. Which brings me to a larger point, which is why we're in a midterm year and we're going to fucking get crushed because of that very, point. People are not going to get motivated. They're lackadaisical. They think their guy's in, so they're good. We had a hard presidential election. It's over. Yada, yada, yada. But meanwhile, we have creeps like this that stay in Congress, build a rapport, get more power, and do more dumb shit. And everybody in this country knows, if you look at the data, I did a whole show about it yesterday talking about wealth equality, education inequality, healthcare's out of control. Good luck finding rent under $2,000 your family of four and anywhere in this fucking country. Like, it's total shit. The dream that you can go from this waitress working part-time and put yourself through school with a single mother bullshit's over. They like this, though, by the way. I'm going to totally go on a tangent. They love that because guess what? Their argument becomes very salient. That's because we don't have the family union. The family unit's broken down. If we can just get back to the family values and the family, we're the party of parents bullshit, all the fucking shit that makes their ears ring, that annoys the fuck out of me, that's all just platitudes. This is what they do. And then you wonder, like, you're going to blame the opposition party when they get elected because you sat on your ass while Dan Crenshaw ran around talking shit, doing nothing for fucking 25 years. And then your children be like, look at the Democrats. They never get anything. Play this fucking thing for your kids. Dan Crenshaw has done nothing since he got elected. He might have co-signed a couple fucking bills, but I'm telling you, nothing to make an impact on anybody. And that goes for every single person in Congress. Why in the fuck, when you're a congressperson in the United States, would you want to do anything but go fucking big and make it so that you made a difference? I know you're going big. There are people going big. They're just going big stupid. And Dan Crenshaw is silently leading that charge, and he wants to be president. I'm telling you, the guy is gunning for it. He's going to be, if there's actually a whole string of tweets where he's just talking about getting into shows and being on this podcast. He's just out there, man. He's getting that, he's building that narcissistic supply. I kid you not, man. There's just, and you have to be a little bit of a narcissist probably to run for office. Not narcissist, but you have to be self-confident and feel like you can provide solutions. And that might be a smidge of, hey, I'm better than everyone else. And again, I'm not going to identify narcissism. I do understand narcissism. I fucking know too much about it. But my point is that if we continue to accept look, I can pick a Democrat next week. If we continue to accept platitudes from these folks and they end up playing social media and building, Devin Nunes quit in the middle of his fucking session because he wants to go run a social media company run by Trump. So you have the opportunity of working for Trump or working in the Congress. You chose Trump. People are like, oh, of course you would choose. He's the next president. He's a fucking, it was malarkey. It was total shit. It was fucking the craziest 4 years of my life. And I had a fucking crazy first 5 years. That 4 years was crazy to me. So I kind of rolled into this one. I know I'm a little bit off today, but my point is I'm sitting here with a wife with COVID, and I'm going online and looking for leadership, and fucking leaders of both parties are doing not much, not really addressing the fact that we don't have hazard pay for our nurses. Fucking restaurants got so fucked, it's not even funny. And you can go back through my Facebook feed. I was all over that shit. I watched while those people just humbly took the losses while realtors lost their shit, making all the money they make on their fucking extracting equity from your house. Don't get me started. The point is that we left those people to dry, and now we're sitting there going, well, it's such a shame Joe Biden's in office, so all these restaurants going out of business or whatever the fuck you're carving your worldview out of your false reality is. You know, you see people putting the stickers on the gas pumps that say Joe Biden did this. Well, what happens when they go down, which they did? Now, all of a sudden, Joe Biden did do this, they're silent. So you've got just people going like this and pointing fingers and doing nothing. And I promise you, the drive of this party, the whole goal is to talk about how to fix things. I hate talking about Trump. It gets me fired up, but it's not good for my mental health. And I don't like talking about people that gaslight other people. This guy is gaslighting everybody on Twitter because he ain't doing shit except going, look at that person. Look what they did. Look what they did. Look what they did. And so, you know, it's personal to me when I'm dealing with COVID and he say, well, we should have done this. Dude, you were on the other side saying, let's not do anything. Let's keep it running. I got friends in the fucking realtor business like, let's run it down. If we had listened to these clowns, would we have a hospital? I'm serious, folks. The hospitals are taking it hard right now. And you're fine, and your world's fine, and oh, your kid's home from school. What a pain in the ass. We're talking about the place where you go when you're sick, where they go to keep you alive, is having problems staffing, having problems keeping place sterile, having problems keeping the pandemic under control. And you're out there acting like a fool and talking about, well, we should have done. How about you get some money to the hospitals? How about you get some money to the restaurant folks? How about you reinstitute hazard pay for nurses? These are simple fucking solutions. Tweet those out. Maybe they're controversial. They cost money that we can print. We can literally print. We got people spending $500 million on fucking NFTs. If you don't know what an NFT is, it's a digitized way, a little bit more complicated, but it's a new way to say, hey, I own this digital piece, whatever it is. So let's say a picture, a GIF, a meme. I could buy an NFT and now I own that. I know you're thinking, well, can't I just take a screenshot of it? Yes, but there's value there. My cardboard crack, magic cards. I have a card that's made out of cardboard that's $500. It's fucking cardboard, okay? It's worth it because we assign value to it. So what I'm telling you is we can assign value to anything. We can also devalue things. When people talk about the cost of healthcare, stop fucking playing yourself. We could devalue that. We could lower that cost. We control the fiat currency. This idea, by the way, the central bank, this is the only point libertarians have kind of got me on their side a little bit. The central bank was designed for the rich people to be able to turn the knobs and make sure, oh, sure, it was under the guise of making sure that we don't have another depression or we don't have this or we don't have that. But it was designed because we want to make sure the knobs, if we can get fiat currency and be the currency of the world, we're in good shape. So the system, again, we can blame the problems, but it was designed to work for these folks. How the fuck did I end up here? This is what I do. It's frustrating to see consistently people kick the problem down the pike. I've seen this in my jobs. I've seen this people just don't want to do the things that are hard now. They want the credit for the stuff that gets done, and they'd rather do it the easy way. That goes for everybody. You're always looking for the easy shortcut. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're not, you're probably not that smart. If you're always doing things the hard way, maybe you're a sadomasochist. I don't know, but it's very frustrating when you're doing everything right and you're following the rules, and then you have legislators out there, you have whole systems that are designed and really to keep people at bay. Don't believe the lie that we don't have the money for universal health care. It is a lie, straight up lie. There's nothing. if the economy of healthcare is this sphere and it exists, if we're talking about Venn diagrams, if you're at all into math, this is represents all of healthcare. Now, if we decide that we're going to move things around inside that ball differently, the money and everything's still there. It's such a poor argument. People don't go a little bit further. They just go, yeah, that makes sense on the surface. So, yeah, universal healthcare. Everyone, what about the lines? What do you mean everyone else has healthcare? That sounds like a disaster. And then you go, do you hear what you just said? Everyone having healthcare is a disaster. These are real argument points that I go through. And so you can see why I'm sitting here with a wife that's, on a different floor than me. And I go and I'm doing my research for my podcast or my show, and I'm trying to figure out what to say. I can't get past these tweets from these grown-ups that are in positions of power that are doing nothing. Zero. Drives me nuts. And I'm telling you right now, that is a motivator for me to fucking, when I've got zero people watching and fucking nobody's fucking doing shit with this, I'm going to go an extra 5 years because I just want to yell and scream. And I just want to make sure it's on the record that somebody in this fucking existence called these clowns and called a lie and called a spade and didn't fuck around with shit. I don't care if he was a Democrat doing the same shit when I'm dealing with this COVID shit, I'd be saying this exact same thing. Get off your phone, put your phone down, Danny boy, and go fucking solve some problems. We elect you. Go on now. Fucking coward. It pisses me off, folks. I'm sorry. Let me get to another thing, the last thing that pisses me off. Look, I got the swivel chair. I know it drives people crazy. I don't have a green screen on my chair yet. And, things aren't perfect. My camera came today, no lens yet. So that's equally frustrating. So you can probably see I'm a little frustrated tonight. But let's go into our third and final. I first talked about COVID. Just wanted to hammer Dan the fucking man, Crenshaw, and his reaction to everything. You guys need to get on Twitter. It is a shit show. It's horrible. Don't post if you don't want to get attacked. If you say the sky is blue, 50 people will tell you you're wrong, and some people will start stalking you and being mean. So it's a minefield. But if you take a little time and work with the settings and turn off, make it so that it moderates it a little bit, and then follow specific people, you can get a good snapshot of what's going through their head. You can get a good snapshot of kind of what's going through a group of people's head. And so for me, Twitter is like where I go first. When I want to get back into the mix, the first thing I do is I pop open TweetDeck and I open it up and I follow, folks that have large followings, and I follow my local representatives. I follow local people in local government. I also then follow people of the opposition party and make sure that I'm getting people that are covering their spectrum. So now when I open my TweetDeck, I have hundreds of opinions, and I can sift through them, and I can kind of see how the group thinks working. I can see where there's an agenda when 50 fucking senators tweet some variation of some message within a 24-hour period. I realize that that's their messaging. You can kind of decipher what they're saying behind closed doors. So, told you guys, every time I start going off, when I really start feeling good, my nose starts running. It's weird. Anyway, so I know you don't give a shit. But anyway, so the last thing I want to talk about, I talked about Dan Crenshaw. I want to talk about the video. And the video that I want to talk about was sent to me from a colleague. And it definitely triggered me. He knew what he was doing. He wanted to get me fired up. And so he did. So we're going to try this again. It's a video, so hopefully it'll play. But let me just set it up. This deals with the insurrection. And it's an opportunity for Republicans or supporters, sympathizers to rewrite the history that we all watched happen on TV. I have a whole thing. I did a live while it was happening. I'm standing in my kitchens telling people, hey, no matter what they do, this election still will be ruled in Joe Biden's favor because blah, blah. And I'm kind of commentating while this is going on. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know all the machinations that are happening behind the scenes, but I watched that video today. I'm not going to show it to you because, again, it's not my best day, but it was interesting because I was kind of like playing it down myself. I was like, you know what? There's nothing they can do. I couldn't see every single thing that was happening. I couldn't see them knocking down barriers, but we did see some of the things. We didn't see I wasn't tuned into the TV. I don't like watching news on TV typically, so I'll go find clips and try to decipher what's going on myself. So I did that, and I really couldn't get I didn't get any threatening vibe from what was happening, but I wasn't there. Little did I know that my worst fears were exacerbated behind the scenes and in front for the Capitol Police. They were getting battered, beaten. Several of them have died, and so it was a big deal. And that post I'm gonna keep. I'll have to edit it and put it out here because it's interesting. Because I'm just like, you know what? It's still gonna happen. I was right, but I was also like way wrong about that. It was no big deal and that there wasn't an effort to really overturn the election. I just thought it was a bunch of crazies. I didn't realize how coordinated it was. So that brings me to my last point, which is this video. Let's see if I can be fancy pants again. There we go. All right, now you should be able to hear me. All right, cool. So, all right, so you probably couldn't hear me that time, and now I realize it. My brother told me this yesterday. There was a dead spot. Let me cue this up because I realized you couldn't hear me. This video is a video. Ari basically interviews this gentleman, and this gentleman is part of the mind behind the insurrection. So I'll let it play, and we'll get there. Hopefully you can hear me. Somebody cue me up if you can't hear it. You can't hear it. I know you can't because it's coming through my other sound. Getting hot flashes is so embarrassing. No, it's not. I'm kidding. I just annoyed because I'm not as well prepared. There we go. All right. So let's see if we can get to the beginning. It's glitchy, but deal with it. Green Bay sweep. Peter Navarro, I think his name is. All right, that guy's name's Peter Navarro, by the way. Let me just see if I can get myself back on. His name's Peter Navarro. He doesn't have a green screen like me, but he definitely likes to use his hands. I'm not making fun, but you can see he's ready to go. He's got his sleeves rolled up. He's talking. He was part of the planning committee for the insurrection. The insurrection actually saved us, apparently, based on what this guy says. I'll let it continue. Sorry about the ghetto switching right now. I don't have shit hooked up yet because my camera's not hooked up, so deal with it. What the fuck is he talking about right there? Many would have been like, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean the election was a doubt? The Supreme Court essentially said, we're not taking the case. Fucking secretaries of state said, yeah, we're good. Run it to the election. Just because they didn't put the fucking last official act of Mike Pence, I get it. You think that is, if that doesn't happen, and based on the Constitution, if it doesn't happen, right, I guess it would have been the case. But to suggest that there was all this doubt, it was sown by your own fucking party to be part of this dumbass strategy that you're talking about right now. So please, let's continue to watch this. Sorry, I'm interrupting, but I just, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, what do you, he does another one at the end. Let me back up. Sorry, guys. Look. That's me making sound effects. Right there, this fucking guy is a crackpot. And there was an interesting, I have a friend of mine who always comments, always adds intelligence comments to posts I make on Facebook on different platforms. And he made a theory that these folks, they got this close to overtaking it. It's only because they were bumbling idiots that they didn't fucking succeed. And when this guy, based on what this excerpt, the insurrectionists saved us. In the beginning of this video, he says, all we had to do was stay quiet, keep things calm, and the Green Bay sweep would have worked. So, thank you, insurrectionists. I mean, that's how fucking fucked up we're at right now, where the insurrectionists, because of their unplanned violence, which was instigated by Trump, so Trump fucked his own plan up. I mean, bumbling fucking clowns. This close to the nuclear fucking, but they had the fucking launch codes. You guys gave them the launch codes. Fucking narcissist of fucking launch codes. God. Ugh. I can't look at many people that vote for Trump. When you say it proudly, I'm like, ugh, get out of my fucking way. But when somebody says George Soros, ugh, come on. George Soros, of course, he's the architect of the liberal agenda, apparently, and nobody has a thought, or I've never met George Soros. I've not gotten a penny from George Soros. I don't know anybody that's fucking knows George Soros. Maybe Mike Sterla does. I don't know. Maybe he gets money from him. But I can tell you, he's not the fucking reason Trump lost Michigan. I mean, this goes back to something I talk about all the time on this channel, and that is the Republicans in this country require a boogeyman to win elections. They have to have a George Soros or a fucking AOC, the liberal, or, oh, God, they love having the Islamic folks with Iman and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say their name. The two Islamic people that are elected, females. I'm sorry, I'm not a journalist. Fucking deal with it. But he hammers on those folks as well. And they're not my representatives, so that's why I don't know their name. That's my excuse. I'm going to stand by it. And I know it was horrible, but no disrespect to anybody that has that name. I just didn't know how to say it right, so I apologize. Truly sorry for that. But back to my original point. It doesn't negate what I'm saying because I made that faux pas. The point is that we had folks that were conspiracy theorists trying to overturn the election results. And they had that plan. That was their plan. The Green Bay sweep. They had a name for it. This guy's got his sleeves rolled up like he's a political consultant and shit. These are the guys that are coming up with these fucking plans. These are the guys that are also writing legislation saying, hey, don't pass that. That won't do good for this part of your base. And so they're making decisions based on fucking polling instead of saying, hey, the polls say this. Everybody really loves slavery. But, it's fucking bad. So despite 75% of the people liking slavery, I really think we need to get rid of slavery. I mean, this is the fucking kind of thinking we need. Who cares what the polls say? What's the problem? Guess what? Guys, I had a good run, but this vote's going to cost me my job. But that's why the fuck I ran. Not this guy. Their only goal is to maintain power and keep Democrats away from power. And so it doesn't matter that the Democrats won. In fact, as I was said earlier, they don't have any respect for Democrats. They think Democrats are un-American. They think they cater to un-American ideas. That's why they're always throwing the isms. Look, Democrats throw the isms at Republicans. They throw the racism, but they're fucking racist. So not all of them. Not all of them. I don't think. But we know they were led by a racist. Trump's dad was a racist. He trained him as a racist. Trump talked about his love for fucking the book that he had by his bed written by fucking Hitler. He's right now, yesterday, he put out a statement in support of the right-wing wacko in Hungary. Do you think Trump has any fucking business knowing what the fuck's going on in Hungary? Do you think he really knows what's going on in Hungary? He doesn't. Somebody fed him that. He knows that's part of his brand. That's part of his commitment. Maybe when he was chopping on Putin's balls, that's what he promised him. But the bottom line is he's now he's rooting for the bad guys. I tweeted like, what is he, a supervillain now? This is what we had for 4 years. And book after book was written. And of course, if you're in the White House, you're thinking, God, I'm staying here as long as possible. I'm fucking going to rake it in when I leave here. And every single motherfucker cashed in. That's how crazy it was. How many people wrote books and made money on the craziness of the Obama White House for 8 years? How many? It wasn't an opportunity. What are they going to do? Say Obama fucking smoked a cigarette out back? Or what's the controversy? He's not a moron. He's not making decisions based on some narcissistic supply he's got to keep filled. So when I watch this video, I get just as pinged up and banged up as I do about the COVID shit. It's like, how did you guys not see this coming? When you elect a con man, his attorney's a con man, his front man's a con man, his campaign finance guy is a con man, everyone around him's a criminal. He talks about it on camera about how he has all these assets in Russia and fucking a large money pot coming. His son's talking about the money coming from Russia. Most of their holdings are coming from Russia. They don't need American money. I mean, all kinds of shit. And then when they get elected and Russia's celebrating and they're talking about it over in their media casually like, that's our guy. What is going on in America? Is it education? Is it people are that caught up in themselves they can't see, like, predict basic events based on data that's in front of them? I'm confused. I am 100% probably in the middle tier of my friend list on Facebook. I've got really, really smart people that are on my friends list on LinkedIn and fucking people in computer science, people that are attorneys, doctors, surgeons. I'm not that fucking smart. I have courage. This isn't easy getting on here, but I'm not that fucking smart. I'm tired of people saying that. All I'm doing is looking at something and saying, I know everybody's saying that's red, but to me, it's blue. And then I just go with that. I go with what I see, and I go with what the facts or data show me, and I just stand by that. And that has really made me look smart most of my life. People think I'm thinking out of the box. No, I'm not. I'm just not following along with your dumbass group shit and saying, hey, everything's okay. It's really not that bad, Nate. Trump's not a racist. He's a bigot. All the dumb shit I had to deal with for 4 years. And then we're watching the I Told You So mountain, and but they're better at it than us. They're revising it. They're talking about it. Look, he's got his sleeves rolled. This was the strategy. Republicans watching this are going to be like, dude, yeah, of course. You should do whatever you need to do to maintain, we can't have socialism and communism. And so, of course, yeah, man, I'm ready to fight for it. I'll fucking go to the Capitol and storm it. And then when they catch me, I'll act like I fucking wasn't there because I'm a coward. I mean, this is what we're dealing with for 4 years. So this interview that happened probably, tonight around 7 o'clock on his show, there's more to it. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. But this excerpt was like, it captured the indignance and I disagree with your premise. What the fuck are you talking about? He didn't say anything that was disputable. I mean, watch the clipping. There's nothing disputable in it. Go to Twitter and follow. I'm not going to play it again because I'm getting all hot and bothered just thinking about how awful it is that we have people that are that selfish, that have the ability to impact so many lives, and this is how they use their power. They use it to punch down, fuck with the American public because the patriarch has decided that they know best. The fuck are we talking about? Some woman today, a 65-year-old woman, Instagrammed me and said, you know what? I'm so fucking tired. She used the word fucking. I'm so fucking tired of seeing white men fuck this country up. That was her word. She's a white woman, okay? There's a lot of people that are seeing the same fucking clowns, the same demographic. Look, if you're white and you're fucking friendly and you're nice and you're liberal, just get over yourself. I'm attacking you. I'm not saying all white people are bad. My fucking mom's white. Brothers and sisters are white. Get over yourself. I'm tired of people saying, I said it wrong, and so now you're going to offend it. I'm going to offend some people, so deal with it. But when you look out and you see these clowns talk about their coup d'etat as if it was some grand strategy, it's even got a fucking name they probably did a focus group on. It really goes to show you, like, these people have no shame. They have no idea the impact of what they're doing is going to do to our country. They don't have the depth of thought to think past their own self. And you know why? Because they're led by a narcissist. So everyone starts thinking about like a narcissist. What's in it for me? Look at everybody in his fucking administration walking out and writing books. What can I get out of this? I'll stick with this shit show as long as I can because it's for me. I want shit too, folks. Don't think that as I become successful, I'm not going to have maybe a boat or a beach house or something like that. I like nice stuff. I'm not saying you can't have stuff and want to work and earn and contribute and all that stuff that we're supposed to do as good capitalists, Americans. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying, though, is that you got into this business, you got into the politics business knowing that you're going to be impacting public policy and actually changing the fabric of how things work. You're going to have a lot of power. It's a big play. And this is how you do it? I can at least respect the guys that went to Congress and wrote tons of bills, but were sleazy scumbags, fucking hookers and doing blow, because guess what? They had a good day's work. They went and did their coping mechanism, not suggesting that I advocate for it or anything like that, but at least that guy who's an outspoken scumbag got legislation written. They did something. There was a time when people got stuff done, and now we can't even get a debt ceiling bill. Appropriation bills are going to be next. We're not going to be able to get fucking shit done. They're already fucking negotiating pads. I'm talking about not passing them. That's going to happen. Somebody's going to think that it's their It's their opportunity to shine. This is their big moment, and they're gonna do something to fucking kill that. And that's gonna be normalized. Then we're gonna be stuck with that. And then we're gonna sit around and complain about how democracy doesn't work. We're gonna bitch about the parties. Stop that shit. The pattern we gotta stop. Who's your representative? Find out who the fuck they are and call them tomorrow. In fact, I'll call my representatives tomorrow on this fucking show. All right? I'll probably get a voicemail because they don't answer their phone, but I'll call them. I'll think of an issue and I'll call them. Do that. Do that until you see change. And if you have to do it once a week, pick up the phone and leave a message. I know it's not much, but imagine 75 million phone calls coming to these fuckers every day. We're going to create some jobs, but they'll at least get some kind of pressure. We don't have access to the kind of pressure that lobbyists have. We don't have those house of cards strings or that puppet master shit. We've got a vote and we've got a phone. We've got our feet. We've got our hands. We can march. We can do all that stuff. And we got to do it. By the way, I'm not marching. I'm going to start growing this megaphone. I'm yelling. You guys march. I know it sounds like a fucking cop-out, but I will march. My point is that I'm focused on this. And people are always like, why don't you go do something? This is what the fuck I'm doing. This is my sacrifice. Trust me, it's a sacrifice. It's not easy. It's painful. It is stressful. It is a constant chasing of how you get yourself out there. But I love it. It's going to be the challenge I'm going to end up. It's going to probably take me to the end. I love this challenge. And if I can grow my voice and it takes 15 years to get this monster that I create, I'll be 60 some years old and I'll be spry motherfucker because black don't crack. And I will be on here ranting and raving or pushing the buttons of somebody else ranting and raving. The point is, I don't care about where I end up financially. We're fine. That's done. Where I care about is like, this is my way of making a change. You need to figure out what yours is, what you're good at, what you can do. And anybody that listens to this can pick up the phone and call their representative and ask, what's the last bill you passed? What's the last large piece of legislation that you champion? Ask them some question. I'll come up with more creative questions tomorrow. One of the things I was thinking about doing on this is actually having a segment where I call a senator or a representative every single time. I don't know how well that goes over because I would always get voicemails, but it could be almost a sign of, hey, this is how we keep our democracy going. We all do this. Pick up the phone, wake up, go get your coffee, look at Facebook, go watch Smashing the Party. Make sure you watch all that shit, like it, subscribe to it, and then do it again, and then call a couple people and tell them to follow Smash the Party. And then pick up the phone and you call your representative and you say, look, this is Nate again. I know I left a message yesterday, but I'm just wondering, I didn't get a call back. I didn't get a letter back. What's the last piece of legislation you championed that you're proud of? What do you think your legacy will be? I mean, ask them tough questions. You're going to talk to the chief of staff or constituent services, but I can tell you right now, if I had Joe Rogan's platform and I was able to say this to 100 million people, I could fuck shit up. Why isn't Joe Rogan doing that? Because Joe Rogan's fine. He's happy, and he's not that smart. Sorry, I love Joe Rogan. If he wants, Joe is intelligent as fuck, actually, because he's successful. I just think our way that we go about things is different. Joe, will you take that and not beat me up? But the point is that when people have access to power and they don't use it, I totally lose respect for them. And I can tell you every single fucking time I've been in a position of power, I have done nothing but think about the people that work for me. And that's why the fuck I was a fantastic manager and I was a fantastic supervisor. And for whatever reason, it took me till the very end to become a manager at the last place I worked because they had no idea what I could do. And so towards the end, I started to get my feet dirty when I was a software architect. And I also had the same mentality. How can I reduce the pain of everybody involved in this transaction? Well, I can communicate really well. I can obviously deliver when I say I'm going to deliver. But there's a process and a mentality. I couldn't just go, okay, I'm just going to wing it today. No, every day I went in going, all right, I gotta grease the wheels here. I gotta make things easy. I had the power to do that, and so I did my best. I wasn't successful every fucking time, and probably a couple people that worked with me in the last project are like, dude, it was a shit show. It wasn't necessarily my fault,
But not everything's perfect, but I want that effort. I want them going in there saying, look, I'm coming in here to make positive change. I'm not just going to come in here and come up with some fucking fancy consultant shit and look like I'm fucking wheeling and dealing. I mean, it makes me sick. But this is how close we were to losing it to these people. And if you're a Republican watching this and thinking, no big deal, the precedent set after one party decides to ignore the rules to maintain power is irreversible. It will never be put back in the box. It has set a precedent. We have lost our democracy after that point. Period. It's over. No one's going to, hey, how did they win last time? Yeah, do that thing again. Why not? So it's a big deal. And we had a coup d'etat, a failed coup d'etat, and thank God they were bumbling idiots. But also, thank God that the fucking insurrectionists came in. Otherwise, Peter Navarro and his Green Bay sweep would have overturned the election that were duly elected by us with the vote that we constitutionally are given. They were going to fucking throw that shit out. They were going to throw out the Constitution. And you guys are sitting there saying, hey, Democrats are the bad ones. Democrats are the fucked up ones because they want to give people health care. The parties aren't the same. They're funded by the same people, but they're not the same. Okay? Let's just get that crystal fucking clear. We're going to wrap today. I dropped a lot of F-bombs. I'm a little bit spicy today. I apologize if this is your first time watching. This is my chaotic rant. This is my therapy. I usually feel at peace after I'm done. I definitely feel at ease now. But today was especially frustrating because I had to talk about COVID and the fact that it's hit home. I also had to go and look at my legislators online just acting like toddlers and blaming everyone else about the COVID that I'm experiencing in my house. And then we have folks sending me videos of how they methodically and proudly, apparently, came up with a plan and even gave it a fucking cute nickname to overturn duly elected officials. And if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what blows your mind. All right, let's go to the comments before I go. I haven't done this yet, so I saw some comments. It makes some sounds. See if I can get this working. I'm going to read your comments, and then we'll go from there. All right, let me see if I can get this on. What are you doing? Oh, you're gonna disappear on me, Bog? All right, I'll just read them to you. I thought they were gonna come up my screen. Oh, all right. So we start off. Basically, there was a conversation that happened before I was live, so I'll skip all that stuff. He was helping me with my sound check. But Kristen Sobek writes, "LOL Stoufers." Yeah, Kristen. Back when that happened, there were people on Facebook talking about Stoufers and what they were doing, and I just was kind of losing my mind, as I said, and so I just kind of picked up the mic and started ranting about it, and it got over to them. I shouldn't take credit for their change in policy, but I will say that the timing was interesting because I yelled and screamed, and then the next day they were like, "Hey, we proudly wear masks," blah blah blah. I mean, there was a time where people were like, this was a novel virus. No one knew what the fuck was going on. And so we were all fucking shooting from the hip. And the people that had knowledge about science and medical procedure and all the facts and science go behind that, I trust their shooting from the hip better than Johnny Realtor that sold fucking 10 listings fucking last year on what's good for public health. So again, the timing was interesting. I don't know if I can take credit, but I'll since this is my show, fuck it. I'll take credit. Good of Lancaster, I think you're just commenting, love that idea. I don't know what idea you were talking about, damn it. I need to turn the buzzer on, so right when you comment, I can hear, and maybe I can glance over, and they'll be like, yo, I got to talk to that comment. Oh, the idea being, oh, gotcha. You're awesome, Kristen. So she said she liked the idea. This is still Kristen. She said she liked the idea of calling the representative. I did too. It was one of my late night sessions where I'm thinking and planning of what I'm going to do. That idea came to me. I don't know how, TV or viewer exciting it'll be. unless I get somebody on the phone. But I like the idea that it shows how anybody can contribute to our democracy, and it's really just that simple. And I'm not saying that, a phone call changes everything, but 10 million phone calls changes a fucking lot. And so if we can get people calling and doing things, we can actually get stuff done. And I'm telling you, the Dan Crenshaws, the Marjories, the whack jobs on either side of the aisle that aren't there to actually get good things done, we can start calling them out. By the way, the other actor that's complicit in this is the media. And I'm not taking the tact of, the mainstream media and fake news. I'm saying because they want to be front and center, they're going to continue to trampoline and elevate any voice that creates a little dissension. For instance, today I made a post about how Matt Walsh, who is a conservative commentator, he made a statement on Twitter that said, if a woman wants to hyphenate her name, she's essentially, it's a red flag and you need to be careful, and she's not, there's other walls of separation. This pretty sexist remark. And so I made some would say equally sexist retort on my Facebook that suggested that Matt Walsh is a beta male and he sits to pee. I said sits to piss. And you can infer what you want. A lot of people inferred that I was just talking about him being feminine, and so then they went down that road. Either way, it was something that was taken out of context. It was kind of run through the gamut. We covered it on all sides. And, I lost my original point. What was interesting about it was the statement that I made was sexist. I had no intent for it to be sexist. Somebody called me out on it. I stood my ground as long as I could. I did have a rational thought process. I did vet it with my wife before I put it on. And I'm closing my eyes because I kind of might have been wrong a little bit. And I hope Claudia's not watching because I don't like to be wrong. But I was validated because somebody else came in, saw the comment, and thought, wow, somebody sits to pee. And she actually came on and talked about how excited she was because in her house, her men sit to pee and it makes everything easy. And it just went from there. I have no fucking idea where I was going with this other than calling my representative, and I don't know how they, is this ADHD in the flesh right here? Where was I? Throw a comment. Tell me where I was. All right. Anyway. So, by the way, that wasn't Kristen. That was Joshua. Sorry, Joshua. I lost my other glasses in a scooter accident, so I don't have my computer glasses. So I'm having to do this to see everything with these progressives. Look, you can see I'm becoming irritable, and I need to close this out. I lost my last point. We'll do better with the comments. We know the screen's fucked up. We know all this shit. I got my new camera. It's charging underneath me right now. Things are going to get better next week. We're going to get the quality better. But this is what you're going to get. You're going to get me. You're going to get natural me, authentic me. You're going to have me bitching and moaning, complaining, instigating, muckraking, and throwing jabs, throwing spears, throwing whatever the fuck I can at people that have the power. I will do my best not to ever punch down on this show. There's no reason to punch down on people. I don't want to make somebody feel worse or lower someone's. I just looking up when somebody's looking down at me. That's the person I want fucking coming down to my level. They are the ones that need to be brought down. And understand that the only reason that you're up there is because I decided you're up there. Not me personally, Nate Bomberger, but we decided they're up there. They're not doing their job. Let's call them out. That's what the fuck this show is. So if you like that idea, make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like it. Throw some dollars at the store. Don't even tell me this fucking sweatshirt isn't dope. This hat, dope. I wanted my red one, but again, my scooter accident caused a lot of problems. We'll get into that at another time. Maybe we'll talk about that in after hours. It was not my best day. Anyway, so COVID. COVID sucks. Wear your fucking mask. Get a booster. Stop acting like tough guy. You're not going to be so tough when you're dead. You're not. I mean, it's not going to be fun at all. I won't get to poke fun at you and yell at you and like your posts and watch what you eat on Facebook if you're dead. So stay alive. Plus, you can't do the same to me. Twitter is a shit show. Our legislators on there that are doing nothing but dividing. I think that It's a shame, and they need to lose their job. In particular, Dan Crenshaw, let's get him out of there. Do not put this gentleman close to the presidency. People are going to fawn over him because of his injury. They're going to fawn over him because we love veterans. And again, no disrespect to my veterans. I have zero. I have friends in the fucking military. I have liberal friends, Republican. If you're going to come at me for disrespecting veterans, I can tell you stories and efforts that I've done and meetings that I've sat in. I've gone to VFW meetings, okay? I've gone to meetings and watched fucking grown men cry because of their PTSD. That's a whole nother story. But to suggest, and I'm getting a little bit teary-eyed to think about it, to suggest that I don't like veterans or I don't understand because I didn't serve and I'm just being disrespectful, I'm going to give you a big fuck you. I'm being specific with the veteran that I don't like. His service is fantastic. It's a shame he lost his eye. I just wish that something would have replaced it to give him the ability to process and analyze and make good decisions, because based on his Twitter feed, he sucks at life right now. He's totally going to become a superstar that's done nothing, and people are just going to gloss over his whole career because he's got an eye patch and he served in the fucking and he served. And that doesn't fly for me. I'm sorry. I respect you, but it's not enough for me to fucking listen to your bullshit, especially when your bullshit's affecting my bullshit. So, veterans, you may not like what I'm saying, but if you are fucking coming at me and suggesting that I'm not fucking veteran friendly, I will come at you and I'll make it known. But I'll tell you, I call it like I see it. You can be a black man and an asshole, okay? Not all black people are fucking awesome like me, just a couple. So get over yourself. Anyway, all jokes, by the way, COVID, Twitter, the video, clown show, almost stole democracy. That really almost happened. You're not fucking sleeping. This is real. I was like fucking smacking my face every day. I had like a fucking case of those smelling salts every day. I'm like, is this real? Every fucking day. Joking, but it was that bad. So we're going to wrap. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight. I will be back tomorrow at 10:30. Same time, same deal. I'll probably have a different color background because that's as much variety as I'm throwing at you right now until I get things ironed out. But I'm happy to be back, and I want to say thank you to everybody that listens to me and lets me do this and supports me. Family, friends. I know I have brothers and sisters. I talk about my family. My family's 6 brothers, 6 sisters, 2 parents, so it's big. And they're wonderful people. I love every one of them. Don't necessarily want to be around every one of them every fucking second of the day, but I love them. And so anytime I talk about them, they're not a monolith. I have family that supports me. They're all my family. I love them all. But I wanted to say thanks to my family that supports me too. There's a couple brothers that are always there and even bought a subscription when I don't know if he reads the blog. I don't think he does. But so I want to say thank you to them specifically because I do kind of hammer on, I have a big family. It's an interesting dynamic. I'm adopted. We'll get into my fucking origin story more specifically later. But I want to just put out gratitude. I'm going to try to put out gratitude on these shows because I get fired up. Sometimes I tear up because I'm so passionate. Sometimes I get angry and want to fucking burn things. But I also want to end it with gratitude because it's important, not only because Gary Vee is right, it does work, but because I truly appreciate it. I mean, this is great. I mean, I talk about it all the time, almost every day with my wife. Like, I have the opportunity just to sit here and talk and emote and maybe find a way to do this and make a sustainable business out of it. And so it's absolutely a fantastic opportunity, and I can't tell you how grateful I am to even have all this equipment and have everything. I mean, at one point, I was homeless. I had none of this. So I have all this stuff, and I'm doing this, and I now have a voice, and so it's fantastic. I love it. So I want to say thank you. I couldn't do it without you. This is not me. As you can see, I fumble through my shit, but I have a goal, and I know for a fact that I will look back on these videos and say, holy shit, how embarrassing were they? And I'll have, at that point, maybe I'll have maybe it'll be fucking spatial and VR or whatever. But I don't know. The point is, day by day, you guys keep me inspired because even during my downtimes, which I talked about yesterday, it's a good one yesterday. If you missed it, kind of shared my experience during the break, mental challenges I had. Even during those times, people were sending me positive messages. When I'd see them out, I saw a couple people out. They'd say, hey, by the way, you're killing it. So I want to say thank you. Sometimes it's frustrating, but I love when I'm behind the camera. And I love when I get going. And I love when I'm making a point and I feel like it's resonating. And I hope it is. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for listening to me. If you're a little bit annoyed with the language that I use, it probably isn't your show, because I haven't even gotten close to getting into some of the adult themes I'm going to talk about down the road. And so if you're getting squirmy when I say fuck, shit, Christ, or hell, you're really going to get squirmy when I start talking about all kinds of shit that is more intimate than you're probably comfortable with. So I have the opportunity to have a voice in this great country and talk and express myself and share my views without retribution. And that's fantastic. And I'm very, very happy to do this. There are people that in China and big country Russia that can't even do this without risk of losing their life. So I am completely hooked the fuck up when it comes to the opportunity. All I need now to put those pieces together is to grow the audience and grow the base and gather resources so that we can make that megaphone happen, so that 10 million call day we can actually make happen. Say, all right, fucking party people, we need to make a policy change. Let's fucking go down to Washington, fucking make these motherfuckers do our bidding, because that's why we elected them. I'm not suggesting we storm the Capitol building, by the way, and be violent. Oy vey, oy vey. All right. That's all I got tonight. Make sure you check in tomorrow. I'm going to be playing with my camera. I got all these tutorials. I'm way, way over my head, which is where I love being. And I've got all this stuff I have to learn in the next year. So join the fucking party. Join the journey. Watch me fail. Watch me succeed. Let's fucking change this motherfucking place. That's all I got. Thanks for joining in, folks.